Oh. So tired, y'all. Hey guys, welcome to today. We're gonna do it like that. We are going to start. Like I mentioned in my post earlier, we are going to be reading a fan fiction, or continuing the one we are for Sunday's video. And hold up, let me reach over and plug it in. Hey Caleb, how's it going? It's going. It's pretty good. But anyways, I want to get, and I'm still gonna read comments and stuff, but I want to get as much done as I can, which probably isn't going to be a lot because I'm like really tired, but yeah, let's go. This is chapter 24. I don't know how many times your little foot has led my Sarah into the mysterious beyond, Longneck, Mr. Three-Horn roared, but this is the last time. Grandpa sighed. Sarah's father was so predictable. Every time Littlefoot and his friends left the valley, he would claim it to be the last time. He would claim it to be the last time, and yet somehow it would always happen just one more time. Arguing amongst ourselves will not get us anywhere. We have to think of something, and it has to be now, he replied, calmly but forcibly. But old Three-Horn would have none of it as usual. Bah, I'm not going to waste time talking to a Longneck, he thundered. I'll think of a plan to find Sarah by myself. And with that he turned tail and walked away, muttering something about how typical a situation like this could be to a Three-Horn who mixed freely with other dinosaurs. Are you okay? Physically, yes. Mentally, but yeah, I'm okay. The rest of the dinosaurs continued to debate about how to deal with the matter, but things are not looking good. Grandpa and Grandma were too old to go wandering around the mysterious beyond while searching for something that was constantly moving away from them at a faster pace, because they had nests of newborns that required their immediate attention. And so the situation seemed hopeless. No one even knew where they were except for Toronto, and he wasn't going to tell anybody. As Littlefoot and the others carried on down the slope through the mountains, it soon became apparent that a large mountain was in their way. How are we going to get past this? Sarah asked, slamming her foot on the ground in desperation. Blue Flyer would have flown right past it, Littlefoot said, so I guess we'll have to go around it. But that take time, Petrie squawked. Me think we should climb over the big rock. It got flat top, not pointy top. He was right. It looked more like a cliff than a mountain, but the sides looked incredibly steep, and no one fancied trying out his idea. Wait, I see something. I do. Ducky suddenly yelled, jumping up and down on Sarah's back. What? What do you see? Sarah asked. Ducky jumped to the ground and ran over to the cliff face. We do not have to go over it or around it. Oh, no. We can go through it. We can. She pointed proudly to a hole which had been hidden from view by a few boulders. It would be quicker. There was a tunnel reaching the hallway through. Littlefoot admitted. But if it doesn't, we would waste a lot of time. So which way do we go? Everyone stopped to think about it. However, the decision was made for them in the form of a large sharp tooth appearing around the corner and heading straight for them. "Everyone, get inside," Sarah yelled to them as she ran ahead. The others were not far behind. Just as the sharp tooth opened its jaws, they squeezed through the hole and made it to safety. The sharp tooth collided with the wall so hard, rocks began to fall, blocking up the hole and trapping them inside the cave. Everyone got to their feet and looked at the blockage. It took a moment for their eyes to get used to the darkness, but once they did, they realized the cavern was a lot bigger than they had assumed. "Now, what we do?" Petrie asked, looking all around him. Spike walked over to the blockage and tried to shift the rocks, but they were too heavy. "I guess we gotta go through it after all," Littlefoot said. But what if there is not way out?" Ducky asked, starting to feel afraid. I don't know," Littlefoot replied. Out in the forest, Allie was just beginning to wake up. She was still tired, and the sky water hitting the roof of the cave would send her back to sleep at any moment. Allie smiled slightly as she realized that, despite her predicament, she was relaxed and peaceful for once. She yawned and rolled onto her back, waiting to drift off again, but her peacefulness was not to last. Just as she closed her eyes, she heard the hiss of a small sharp tooth, which snapped them open. She rolled onto her front and crawled to the entrance. Looking to the right of the cave, she felt her blood freeze as a sharp tooth from the same group that had attacked her earlier loomed out of the mist and began to sniff around. At first, Allie was afraid, but she calmed herself, remembering that the sky water would have covered her scent. On the minus side, it meant she could not determine how many sharp teeth were outside. She watched with bated breath as more members of the pack appeared. She was expecting them to move on at any moment, but they did not. To her horror, I lost my train of thought. Oh, there we are. She saw them begin to lie down and fall asleep, leaving 3 on the guard. Through the mist, Allie could see a few newly hatched sharp teeth. They must be planning on staying here until their babies are old enough to move, she realized with shock. If they planned on staying right there, she had no hope of escaping. With 3 on guard at all times, they would easily spot her if she tried to escape. And with her leg in this condition, she could never outrun them like she did before. Thinking of her leg, she decided to see how it was bearing up. She stood on her 3 good legs and tried to put weight on her bad one. It did not hurt much now, but it was stiff, and as soon as she put weight on it, it buckled. "I'm never going to get out of here," she thought to herself as she collapsed to the floor. As she lay there in the dirt, tears of hopelessness fell from her eyes. Chapter 25. Escape foiled. Littlefoot and the others tried to knock away the boulders that blocked their exit, but they were too large. Littlefoot walked away with Ducky, Petrie, and Spike, but the ever-persistent Sarah continued to bash her head against the rocks. Give it up, Sarah, Littlefoot called to her. That isn't going to work. We need to find another way through. Sarah stopped banging against the wall for a moment. And what if there isn't another way through? She asked. Then what? Littlefoot stopped to think. If there wasn't another way out, then they would have to come back and try to break through again. But even if they could, they would waste a lot of valuable time. There will be another way, he said with determination. We have to believe that. Sarah sighed in frustration and walked away from the blockage. If there was any such thing as an easy life, she hadn't found it. It was nightfall in the forest. Allie had spent the last few hours thinking of a plan to escape the sharp teeth and praised the gods she had thought of one. But like all great plans, it was both dangerous and there was a very large possibility of something going wrong. There were only 2 sharp teeth on guard, and now was the time to put her plan into action. She picked up a small rock in her jaws and threw it in the sharp teeth's direction. As it clattered past them, they looked at each other for a moment and then ran off after it, thinking it may be a dinosaur for them to eat. With no sharp teeth awake, Allie slipped out of the cave and sank into the water. Heading away from the pack, she slipped out of the pond and dragged herself away. She was making good progress when she heard hisses in the distance. The sharp teeth were searching the whole forest. If they found her and looked down at her feet, and with a chill, she realized the sky water had made the ground soggy. Her footprints could be clearly seen, but she did not panic. She kept going with determination. After a while, she made a large U-turn and headed back in the way she had come. As she traveled on, she passed a large rock which she knew she could use as a hiding place. She returned to the pond and quickly slipped in and out to keep her scent hidden. To double her tracks, heading toward the hiding place she had picked out. She saw the pack was now reduced to the females and the younglings. That meant the rest were out hunting for her. With a growing feeling of desperation, she kept moving backward along her tracks until she finally reached the log. She scrambled up it as best as she could, and slipped into the shadows. As she prepared to jump off the other side, she stopped as she heard something. She turned to see one sharp tooth following her tracks. As it drew closer to her, she drew in her breath and waited. Now was the moment of truth. Meanwhile, Littlefoot and the others continued on steadily through the cave. They were running out of time. There was no way through at the end. There would be no hope for them. Ducky started to wipe her forehead as she sat up on Littlefoot's head. Petrie, who was on Sarah's back, did the same. It's sure hot in here, he moaned. It is, Ducky agreed. Usually when we are in a cave, it is cool, but this one is not. No. Would you guys quit complaining? Sarah said in an annoyed voice. Littlefoot stopped walking. They're right, though, he said. Why is it so hot? Sarah had to admit that she was feeling the heat, too. I don't know, but if we don't... She stopped talking as she heard a strange rumbling sound. Everyone looked back the way they had come to see what was causing the heat. A large wave of lava headed straight for them. Firewater! Run! Littlefoot exclaimed. They were away like lightning. Screaming, they hurried themselves onward. Trying to escape the horrors behind, they came to a halt as they found themselves on the edge of a very high cliff. "Quick, this way," Sarah yelled, heading left. Everyone followed her along the curve as the lava went over the edge. They had escaped, but they were not safe. As they rounded the corner, Littlefoot and Spike both slipped on the ledge, rolling the steep hill. Sarah and the others came to a halt and turned just in time to see them go over. The group was now split in two. Oblivious to the would-be rescue party's plight, Allie just continued to watch the sharp tooth with bated breath. It came closer and closer until finally it passed right by her. "It's a good thing shark teeth aren't very smart," she thought, sighing relief. She jumped down on the rock, wincing as she landed on her bad leg. Moving away from the trail she had created, she was filled with a sense of giddy relief as she realized she had escaped from the shark teeth. She was free. Her happiness was not to last, however. In the distance, she heard an angry hiss. Knowing that the shark tooth must have reached the end of her fake trail, she tried to quicken her pace. She heard the shark tooth running. The sounds were getting louder. They were coming for her again. She tried to hurry, but even with 4 healthy legs, she would have had no chance. She turned to see one beast leap out of the foliage right toward her. Before she even had time to scream, it struck her around the eye. In a stroke of luck, she was able to roll with the blow, sending her down a long slope away from the hideous carnivore. She tumbled down, down, down. At last, she struck solid ground. She looked up, her left eye half closed from the blow. "I've got to get out of here before my luck runs out," she thought desperately, but it seemed her luck had run out already. Hearing voices around her, she turned to see the shark teeth bounding down the hill, closing in on their meal. So, yeah. But that's where we are going to end the fan fiction reading today. We're going to continue next time with chapter 26. But yeah, I'm like really enjoying it so far. There's some spelling mistakes, but like I can I can like get over that. You know. That's just, like the story is interesting and it isn't like bad enough like I can't understand like what they're saying. It's just different. Also, before I go, if you haven't already, submitted your LBT tattoos for next week's video. I'm filming this video, that video. I'm going to try to go as far as I can. So I think I'm going to film that Friday or Saturday. just to give as many people time to, you know, get what they need and submit if they want to. And don't worry if you don't submit this one, we'll probably do a part 2 in like a few months. So that's really cool. I just thought it would be like a cool idea, a different idea to do for a YouTube, for a GVC video, Great Valley Chronicle. But yeah, so I'm gonna head out.